Thursday, 10th of September 2015. You are listening to the paper headlines on AthavanEnglish.com, read by Fatima Sharika. First, let's look at the paper headlines from Daily Mirror. MS. Government will serve full term. Says we will never blacken that great history to the day we breathe our last. 3 more cabinet ministers, 19 state ministers and 21 deputy ministers took oaths. 3 more ministers of the National Unity Government took their oaths before President Maithripala Sirisena last morning at the Presidential Secretariat, fattening the cabinet of ministers to 48, inclusive of President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Another headline from Daily Mirror. LG polls in March. The elections for the local authorities would be conducted in March next year, government sources said yesterday. The source said that the cabinet of the new government, which met for the first time last morning, made the decision. Another headline from Daily Mirror. CC to meet today. Champika Vijayadasa and Vijitha nominated to CC. The Constitutional Council, authorized to make appointments to the 9 independent commissions, will meet today for the first time after the new parliament was formed. Another headline from Daily Mirror. MEP says CC nominees not in Yahapalneya line. The appointment of those with cabinet portfolios to the Constitutional Council was against the principles of good governance, Mahajan Exit Peramuna leader Dinesh Gunawardena charged yesterday. Gunawardena told the Daily Mirror there was agreement during the last parliament to appoint MPs without cabinet posts to the CC. More headlines from Daily Mirror. Politicians must make sacrifices, Ranil. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday said politicians must make sacrifices if they genuinely want to serve the people. He said cabinet ministers, state ministers and deputy ministers had concluded the first phase of the National Unity Government in its journey to make Sri Lanka the centre of excellence in the next 5 years. Another headline from Daily Mirror. Floating armory. Gotabaya says CID probed properly. Former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa said a thorough inquiry had been conducted by the CID into the floating armory belonging to the Avant-Garde company, and it had come to the conclusion that there was no illegality or even procedural infirmity in his actions. More headlines from Daily Mirror. Petition against national list fixed for September 16th. The Supreme Court has fixed for support on 16th instant with notice to the respondents the rights petition challenging the declaration of candidates as members of parliament in the national list who were defeated at the general elections in August. Another headline from Daily Mirror. Teen not so empty. Singer granted bail in IP rights case. Teen singer MG Danushka, who became popular by singing the song His Tin Ekak Wage Ape Me Jeevithe Malli, was released on ₹5 lakhs personal bail by the Colombo Chief Magistrate Gihan Pilapitiya yesterday. Now let's move on to the paper headlines from Ceylon today. Cabinet ministers increases to 48. 19 state ministers, 11 from UNP and 8 from UPFA. 21 deputy ministers, 11 from UNP and 10 from UPFA. 3 more cabinet ministers were sworn in yesterday, increasing the number of cabinet ministers to 48. Malik Samaravikrama was sworn in as the Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade. Vijit Vijayamuni De Soiza as Minister of Irrigation and Water Resource Management, and Faisal Mustafa as the Minister of Local Government and Provincial Councils. Another headline from Ceylon today. Sashindra before special today. Former Chief Minister of the Uva Provincial Council Sashindra Rajapaksa has been summoned to the Special Presidential Commission of Inquiry into Large-Scale Corruption and Fraud today. Another headline from Ceylon today. Army blocks probe at Giruthala camp. The Homagama magistrate has referred to the Attorney General a request made by the Criminal Investigation Department seeking permission to search the false LTTE camp at Girithale revealed in investigations which had been maintained by the army. Another headline from Ceylon today. President affirms this government will not change until 2020. President Maithripala Sirisena, speaking at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday following the appointments of the cabinet, deputy and state ministers, said that there were a great many challenges ahead of the island's first national government. The president said it was high time to change the traditional manner of practicing politics and transform the current political culture to adapt to the needs and expectations of the present era. More headlines from Ceylon today. Import levy on sugar potatoes increased. A special import levy of ₹12 per kilogram was imposed on sugar yesterday, the Ministry of Finance said, adding that the sales control price remained unchanged at ₹95 for 1 kilo sugar packs and 88 for bulk sugar. And that's from Ceylon today. And now let's move on to the paper headlines from Daily News. AG under fire over KP and Avant-Garde. Puravesi Balaya wants committee to probe allegations. A coalition of civil society movements including trade unions and the Puravesi Balaya yesterday lashed out at the Attorney General for taking arbitrary decision to conclude the cases filed against LTTE Chief Arms Procurer Kumaran Padmanathan alias KP and the floating armory of Avant-Garde Security Services Limited. According to Puravesi Balaya convener Saman Ratnapriya, the AG has taken an arbitrary decision to conclude these cases even after Deputy Solicitor General has recommended him by a report to proceed with the cases. Ratnapriya said that a copy of the report was sent by the DSG to the Attorney General asking him to proceed with these cases was with him. Another headline from Daily News. National government to work for country's well-being. PM. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday said that a program of work based on the United National Party and the United People's Freedom Alliance manifestos with inputs from the JVP and TNA will be formulated for implementation within the next 2 years. More headlines from Daily News. 40 state and deputy ministers sworn in. 19 state ministers and 21 deputy ministers were sworn in before President Maithripala Sirisena at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. Another headline from Daily News. No government change until 2020. MS. President Maithripala Sirisena stressed yesterday that a formidable government will rule the country for the next 5 years despite pessimism by some that it would not last for long. The president was addressing the newly sworn in cabinet ministers, state ministers and deputy ministers at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. While stressing the point that the government could not be toppled as expected by some, he told the critics not to expect a premature baby. He asked those awaiting the government's fall not to expect a premature baby within the next 5 years. He stressed that no new government will be formed till 2020. More headlines from Daily News. Champika Vijayadasa Vijitha appointed to CC. Committee meets today. President Maithripala Sirisena yesterday reappointed Mega Police and Western Development Minister Patali Champika Ranawaka as his nominee to the Constitutional Council of the 8th Parliament. Secretary General of Parliament Dhammika Dasanayaka said that the President has conveyed to Parliament that his nomination of Minister Patali Champika Ranawaka to the Constitutional Council. Another headline from Daily News. Abusing Russian diplomat. Foreign Ministry initiates action against suspect. The Foreign Affairs Ministry has initiated action against an individual who allegedly assaulted a senior Russian diplomat at the Arpico car park over the weekend. A video that went viral on Facebook showed a man driving a BMW car abusing the Russian diplomat in foul language after blocking his car at the car park of Arpico supermarket at Hyde Park corner. We brought you the paper headlines from today's newspapers and we will bring you more tomorrow. Have a pleasant day.